The doublespeak of politicians. Hello, everyone. I want to expand a little bit more on my last video regarding the vice president. What is his name? I forget his name. I think it's J.D. Vance or something, vice president. And when he was standing up at the recent rally that they had with the wife of, um, of Charlie Kirk. I guess they had a convention, and he got up on the podium and said that that whites don't have to, you don't have to apologize for being white. And I kind of stated, not kind of, but I did state that that was a double speak, or with euphemisms with that particular phrase, because of the adherence of the plebs or the general population of white people, in an attempt to keep them in line. So I just want to expand on that a little bit more. And just to say that, and I guess this is really to white people, that it goes into the reasoning as to why we were, as black folks, especially those of us who are from our lineage is from the former slaves of America, those of us who have been here well over 500 years. I mean, even before the settlers or the invaders actually came here from Europe. And so what I want to say about that, about the No King's March, again, the real reason that the creator of heaven of earth put it in our spirit to kind of stand down is because we could find no no Jim Browns. There were no Nathaniel Bacons, and most certainly no Bravehearts in the crowd. And with a people like yourselves that had gathered at that No King's March, I can say safely that most of you have houses full of manumissions of every single kind. I have been in a few of those homes, especially with the white males in the home, or if they, if they were a father, grandfather, or a colleague. And sometimes, not sometimes, but nearly all the time, there was always some type of weaponry in the home of the Second Right Amendment people. And I would gather that if not all of you, probably 90% of you have the same thing. But yet you chose to get out there with the sign and banner and walk out there like you were us. And we knew the tomfoolery in that. And so what we live in is in a day where we need brave hearts. We need brave hearts, and not from black people, because we've done that. We have got out there and we put our best and our brightest, and unarmed, by the way, and they still got bullets. They were still taken down in the most horrific way. So the Second Amendment right is a right for Americans, right? But it's really something that is allowed for the people who were the participants of the No King's March. They have been the greatest procurers or benefited people. I can't talk today because there's so much I want to say, but I'm trying to tailor my words, but still say it. So I think that if that crowd looked differently, you might have had us out there. But we are done. We are done doing that because we know in our spirit, in our hearts and mind, that this world is now over and that it has to change. And we realize that you all, no matter what the aristocracy is doing to you, you all are making the decision every single day to try to save it, to try to save the madness. So, and it doesn't, so with the Epstein files, what we know is that it's not our babies that were part of those files, and that the president saying that you don't have to be apologize to be white, that's a euphemism, and that's a double spoken phrase, because he's not talking um, for your benefit. He is talking at you and to you, saying really at you, is saying basically that they don't have to apologize. And in your history, you have had men and even women like Joan of Arc actually recognize that. And the countrymen will actually recognize it. And for the life of me, I cannot understand with these generations um, uh, why you are content to copy a people who have been totally disarmed. That's all I want to know. They have been totally disarmed. Black folks, all we had was our 2 feet and a nice dress or a suit that we can walk down the street. But it was some of the bravest shit that the humanity has ever seen, to walk and challenge a well-armed, a well-armed people, populist government, and to just one foot in front of the other, to demand justice, to demand accountability. And now, we're looking at you kind of sideways and a little crazy, because now you want to hijack that and make it your own. And you can't make it your own because it's a different spirit. What is called for you is something different, because you have more. That's all. That's the real crux of it. You have more to work with. But we also understand too that you want to hold on to um, what you are losing, what was never really yours. What the kings and queens, the leaders of all different stripes, because um, the European royal houses weren't working on their own. They had a whole conglomerate of people around them that were actually thriving, while the rest of you were living in horrible and deplorable conditions, which are well documented. Well documented. And it was only really to people with my skin color that kind of came up into Europe that changed things, so that you weren't, dying off from diseases, or weren't being brutalized by those people, that things seemed to change. But somehow, um, well, I know how Satan got in there, really took over the place, and it was his time to rule. So he got in there, was able to make you, or the yeah, you as white folks, his viceroys. But it wasn't all of you. It was still just that subset of people that were already in high station. So anyway, I want to dive into that a little bit. That it's going to take more. You are not allowed to march and change things. That's what I want to say. You are not allowed to march and change things. There is much more that is required of you, and it means that you're going to have to let go of the illusion of supremacy. And if it means that you have to redefine whiteness, then so be it. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe you need to redefine that in a more just manner, as it, basically doesn't matter about what your skin color is, or it matters what the content of your character is. Isn't that what Dr. Martin Luther King said? The content of your character. There's nothing new under the sun, or over the sun. The right thing to do and the right thing to be has always been here for thousands of years. And I guess uh, um, what this video is about is calling you to that, knowing that it may be a fruitless activity, but at least we can put on our scoreboard before the Most High God that at least at this final hour of everything, we did check that box too. You cannot do what we did because to whom much is given, much is expected. For Black folks who are the former slaves of this country, not much was given to us. Little to nothing has been given to us. But much has been given to you by being able to slide under white supremacy, to be able to say you're white. Even some of our children who were born from white people with the mixture of white people and who looked white. Even some of our children um, have dissected themselves from us or went to that point to do so and go into your world and play white. Even now we have many biracial children who can pass for white have actually gone into those spaces. They rarely talk to their family, integrate with the Black side of their family, or they cut them off completely. They cut them off completely. Rare is it that we're going to find when the kingdom's ruling that we are going to find that these people were ensconced with us. And if they are, they usually are suffering right alongside us. But there's a whole history of that. So much has been given to you. Much more is required. And you are being forced to reckon with that. You're being forced to reckon with it. They have blocked out or blacked out many of the evidence of what they've been doing to your children. And we wonder. We wonder, and the angels are watching. By the way, the angels, the heavenly host is watching you. They are monitoring you that this information has come out. They have brought it out to you mostly redacted. And from the last time I heard, there were like 10,000 pages worth. It's probably more now that's out there. A lot of it is redacted, blackened out, pictures and all. And the aristocracy of America is running from this. They are downplaying this. They are trying to move on to other things. They are not trying to bring anybody to justice over it. They are not calling names. They are not retributing or giving any type of compensation to all of the victims, which are your children, your babies. And so we are back here watching you as descendants of American slaves. We're watching how you are reacting to that. And from what we can see right now, you're kind of yelling, making a fuss with your mouth, but you're not doing much else. You're not doing much else. And what that is telling us, white folks, is that that's how depraved you are. That's how much of an addict you are to the heroin of the illusion of white supremacy. How much you want this to last, even if it means the most innocent among you. Even if it means not only their innocence, their mental health, their emotional gravity, but their very existence. And so, again, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I think about, again, I'm going to go to the military generals, and I'm going to hit on a tape on that a little later. But the military generals that were called to listen to Defense of War Pete Hegseth, and they sat there, these men and women who had to listen to this man doing whatever he was doing. He was flexing without having to flex. But anyway, but they had to sit there. These well-seasoned who have, I'm going to just go out on a limb, who have really earned their stripes. They weren't just chosen because a son of a billionaire and of a son of a billionaire was put in that position, could use his money that he didn't work for, but that he had inherited to become the president. And now he gets to pick whomever he wishes, whether or not they're qualified. But to have those men and women who are ranked high in the military, the highest, many of them, and who have worked, and some of them have even been in wars and have fought for this country. And and they have to sit there and be lectured to by a puppet for the real power. And which means it nullifies everything that those men or women have done in their lives, and they have to sit there and be lectured to like they were children. And y'all are letting that fly too. Y'all are letting that fly as well. You grumble, but you are just hoping and praying that you can hide in your homes and that the Black Plague doesn't hit you. And that's just not going to happen if you are a real reader of history, if you can really read history and understand it, as so many of you like to recall to us when we want to talk about justice. So anyway, that's what I want to say. I am going to home in on a little bit of the military and the men and women who are still in the military, and how the dynamics of power are being put into the hands of people who are not ready to lead in the capacities that they are ready to lead. For instance, you have the recent general who actually just bowed out of his command over the Pacific in regards to the Venezuela incident that took place. In this black man, he was unwilling to go with whatever plans that this administration has. So he signaled that there might be something unjust about the whole operation. So they got someone else in there, quite possibly a lackey. And if that person has any type of a crisis of conscience, they'll get rid of him and they'll get someone else. And as they go down the line, by the way, as they make these changes, you can probably bet that it's probably somebody who's not qualified to do it, or who hasn't had enough experience or enough know-how to do it properly. And so all they will do is follow the leader. Is follow the leader. And on top of that, you have where, the government is going after, as usual, going after little countries that can't really fight back. They're going after little countries that cannot fight back. And so, and how that is a danger to actually white folks, regular white people, trying to go to work every day. Many of you being laid off, many of you being fired, which is, again, another thing that's not being brought out. Everybody's focused on all the black women who were let go, and not focusing. I mean, you're looking at the left hand, but you're not looking at the right hand, which is how many white men and women have been let go. So because they have enough people from Asia, whether or not they be Indian, or whether or not out of India, or if they're from the Asian South and East, China, Japan, Singapore, who can now replace their jobs, or worse yet, that it is technology that now is replacing their jobs. How many white men and women have been let go, and they're sitting at home right now, literally spending their reserves, which is why they're still in their homes, but they're burning through their money in order to maintain their lifestyle. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And so stay tuned, because don't think that all is well with these people, because it's not. Don't think that they're not feeling the effects of the downturn or of the situation that is now America, because it's not true. America's in judgment, and you can best believe that this judgment is going to be hitting them more so than it is going to be hitting black folks. We're feeling the effects because we're basically a wealthless nation, but we have a promise and we have divine help that's aiding us right now, and I can verify that right now. I just take it day by day. I take it day by day, but I am seeing somehow, some way, that the creator of the universe the angels are assisting me. And I'm having to just kind of trust that. Of course, my desire is always to have things diametrically change or dramatically change, and to be in a position of power and not in a position of weakness, right? To be able to do the things and have the wealth and have the resources to do the things that is going to uplift not only New Jerusalem or my people, but everybody around the world. And that is not a tall tale, because the planet speaks of it. Even in the state that it's in right now, it still has a capacity to feed and house every man, woman, and child properly. It's just that we are dealing with demons that do not like humanity, and have actually made plans, project or agenda 2025 and project 2030. They have literally made plans about what they're going to do to humanity. And so I'm on the side of thwarting that and stopping that. And I don't believe I'm alone. And I believe that there are some white people out there that are willing to do that. They're probably just scared and too hooked on the drug of white supremacy. Anyway, thank you for letting me speak, and stay tuned for my next video on that. Thank you. Have a good day.